Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with 3 from me for November 2023. It's officially December, which means it's time for me to give my 3 recommendations for movies I watched in November. As you know, 3 from me is the series in which I recommend 3 movies I watched the previous month. They are not always necessarily my favorite movies I watched that month, and they aren't always first-time watches. They are simply 3 movies I really enjoyed, and I think you would as well. It just so happens that all 3 films in this video are 2023 movies. They were also all technically first-time watches. Technically. Which brings me to my first recommendation, Infinity Pool Uncut. Now, watching this last month, I believe, was the 5th time I actually watched the film over the course of this year, since it was released earlier in 2023. This, however, was the first time I watched the uncut version of the film. For someone like me who had seen it 4 times prior, I was pretty familiar with Infinity Pool. So the changes in the uncut version were pretty clear. They might not be as noticeable to others, but for me, they definitely stood out. Infinity Pool Uncut features more graphic violence and more graphic nudity. I found this Canadian Blu-ray release last month, and then went home and watched it that same day. Unfortunately, there is no official US Blu-ray release of Infinity Pool Uncut, and that version of the film is only available on 4K. Regardless, whether it's uncut or not, I definitely recommend Brandon Cronenberg's Infinity Pool. Next up is a movie that barely made it into my watch list in November, because it was only released on Tuesday. A Haunting in Venice. This is the 3rd film in the Poirot trilogy, all based on stories by Agatha Christie. A Haunting in Venice is the adaptation of Halloween Party. It follows Murder on the Orient Express and Death in the Nile, but you don't need to watch those 2 to enjoy this one. Truthfully, you really don't. It's a standalone. Also, from what I've read and what I've been told, those first 2 are strictly murder mystery tales, whereas A Haunting in Venice is absolutely horror. Yes, it's of course a mystery as well, but it's a horror movie mystery. A Haunting in Venice, based on Halloween Party, is set on Halloween night and was shot on location in Italy. There's a Halloween party at an orphanage with classic 1940s Halloween costumes, because that's when this movie is set. There's apple bobbing and even a seance in a haunted house. A Haunting in Venice is easily one of the most atmospheric movies I've watched in a while. This flew by too. I did not want it to end. I loved it, and now I can't wait to go back and watch the first 2 Poirot films. A Haunting in Venice is one I will definitely be revisiting time and time again, and will probably be reviewing it during the 31 days of Halloween next year. If you enjoy Halloween horror as much as I do, this one is for you. And this last recommendation might come as a bit of a surprise, but it's Barbie. I had found this Blu-ray brand new and still sealed last month at the thrift store, so I obviously had to get it. Admittedly, I had been curious, specifically about the sets. Based on what I had seen in the trailers, I really liked the set design. As for the movie itself, I wasn't going in with high expectations, despite this being Warner Brothers' most profitable film of all time. I had heard this movie was too woke or too feminist. You know, common descriptions for a lot of movies coming out of Hollywood these days. Truthfully though, I can see it going both ways. There is obvious feminism here, but there's more to it. I really don't want to spoil anything, but if you really look at how the characters treat the other characters, you might question what's really going on. The set design, by the way, was brilliant, and Ryan Gosling stole the show as Ken. I had heard he was great in this, and he really was. I was also surprised to see Will Ferrell. I had no idea he was in Barbie. Margot Robbie was gorgeous, of course, and like Ryan Gosling cast as Ken, she was perfectly cast as Barbie. And honestly, guys, the movie was hilarious. I was laughing out loud for much of it. I was even texting Jason telling him I was almost embarrassed about how much I was enjoying the film. I will never listen to the song Push by Matchbox 20 the same way again. Say what you will, but I definitely recommend Barbie, and I can't wait to watch it again. So, there they are, guys. My 3 from me for November 2023. What do you think? Have you seen any of these films, and which of the 3 interests you the most? Comment below and let me know. Always remember, physical media matters. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and be kind. Subscribe.